Talking about the city, talking about the seaside town. The sun's coming up, how beautiful it seems.
Speakers just before me have said Port Arthur has a very rich, very strong historical background. And at this time, we're going to get a chance to hear about that history from two gentlemen who are well steeped in all that Port Arthur has been. So we're going to have Mr. Tom Neal and Dr. Sam Monroe come forward and lead us on a journey through time about Port Arthur.
Thank you, Dr. Thigpen. We're happy to be with you today. We're going to cover 12,000 years of history, but we're not going to take it 1 year at a time. We're also going to do it in 10 minutes, so nobody will go to sleep. Are you ready? All right. 12,000 years ago, Paleo-Indian hunters were hunting mammoths and mastodons right here where we're enjoying this afternoon. Coming forward to November 6, 1528, Spaniard Cabeza de Vaca and African Esteban beached in a blue norther on the southeast Texas coastline. In 1730, French traders traded with the Indians. In 1838, John Sparks moved his family here. 1849, Sabine Pass. Platte for 5. For 2,500 lots. Sabine Pass plat was filed with 2,500 lots in the year 1839. Niles F. Smith, agent. Sam Houston, president of Texas, owner of the property. 1861, Sparks Settlement renamed Aurora. Sabine Pass incorporated as a city. 1863, the Civil War battle fought at Sabine Pass. 46 Confederate soldiers led by Dick Dowling captured 2 Union gunboats, captured 315 prisoners. 1875, Congress authorized the development of Sabine Neches Waterway. 1886, October 12th, hurricane destroys Sabine Pass, Johnson Bayou, and damages Aurora. 200 people were killed. 1895, Arthur Stilwell purchases land that will become the site for Port Arthur and begins work on a ship channel to deep water. 1896, construction begins on the Sabine Hotel and Pleasure Pier. 1897, Kansas City, Pittsburgh, and Gulf Railroad Depot is built. The last spike in the rail line is driven and links Port Arthur to Kansas City. 1898, voters approve incorporating Port Arthur as a city. Population 1,800. First black settlers arrived. Stilwell also founds Nederland the same year. February 12th, 1899, major winter storm arrives, freezing Lake Sabine solid enough to permit ice skating. March 10th, Port Arthur Canal completed, linking the city to the Gulf of Mexico. August 24th, that same year, Port Arthur ISD authorized as a governmental unit. The vote, 81 in favor, 2 against.
1900, voters approved ISD bond issue. John W. Gates and Isaac Elwood come to Port Arthur to build summer homes. Elwood's home, known today as the Pompeian Villa, still stands. In January of 1901, Spindletop blows in. March, Texas Fuel Company is incorporated. In November, Gulf Refinery Company is incorporated and announces plans to build 2 refineries in Port Arthur.
1902, Texas Fuel Company buys 25 acres to build refinery. April, the company names their new name, the Texas Company. Port Arthur YMCA founded. 1905, first black school organized. by Israel Chapel AME Church. Woodworth Mansion built by Rome Woodworth, known today as Rose Hill.
1906, the first store on the west side, King's Grocery and Market, started at Texas Avenue and West 9th Street. January 19th, Congress approves Port Arthur as a port of entry bill signed by President Teddy Roosevelt. December 14th, ownership of the Port Arthur Canal passes to the United States. 1907, the first bridge to Pleasure Pier opens.
1908, January 27th, Port Arthur Canal extends to Sabine and Neches Rivers, serving Beaumont and Orange. 1909, Port Arthur College opens, the forerunner of today's Lamar State College, Port Arthur.
1910, Port Arthur population, 7,663. 1912, new drainage system completed.
1913, interurban rail line completed, linking Port Arthur and Beaumont. 1915, August 15th, hurricane storm surge puts 4 feet of water downtown. December 28th, voters approved bond issue for storm protection.
1960, Mrs. John Gates announces donation to build Gates Library. 1920, the U.S. Census population now up to 22,276.
1920 census report there from Tom. 1921, Lincoln High School completed. 1923, Atlantic Richfield Refinery purchase site. Company today known as Total. July 4th, Silver Jubilee celebration. Port Arthur reaches its 25th anniversary.
1924, Texaco explosion kills 10 and injures 28.
The 1930s, a dynamic time in Port Arthur. The Depression covered over Texas, the nation at large, and the world. Public works projects were initiated by the federal government. The Rainbow Bridge was completed. KPAC Radio went on the air, owned and operated by Port Arthur College.
The 1940s, during the 40s, Port Arthur was a wide open town that worked hard and played hard. The young city that survived the Great Depression and came out fighting. Port Arthur people played a major role in World War II, supplying aviation fuel, synthetic rubbers, lubricants, and they also built tugs and ships. When Port Arthur's sons went to war, their daughters went to work filling the oil cans that would keep America's war machine running. By the end of the decade, Port Arthur faced many new challenges, including post-war layoffs and demands by labor unions. In addition, the city would soon have to decide how it would educate and serve its growing minority population. World War II had brought black and white together to share many dangers, but returning to Port Arthur, they shared very few of the same liberties.
The 1950s, Port Arthur enjoyed tremendous growth during this period, expanding its borders, its schools, and city services. Pleasure Pier was renamed Pleasure Island. The causeway linking the island in Louisiana opened. Nearby communities of Groves and Port Neches voted to incorporate as separate cities as opposed to being a part of the city of Port Arthur. Hurricane Audrey made a close pass at southeast Texas. 100-mile-per-hour winds were recorded at Sabine Pass. More than 600 people lost their lives in Cameron Parish. The damage here prompted Port Arthur to plan for more substantial flood protection.
Landmark events in the 1960s and 70s include Kansas City Southern ended all passenger service. Pleasure Pier Bridge and Pleasure Pier Midway destroyed. Shopping centers and malls attracted shoppers away from downtown. James Commission halts wide open gambling and prostitution. Public schools are integrated. Urban renewal programs established. The Port of Port Arthur reestablished. The new government complex built. Lakeview, Pear Ridge, and Port Acres joined Port Arthur. Port Arthur named All-American City. Vietnamese families established new communities in Port Arthur, and the Martin Luther King Gulfgate Bridge reconnect Pleasure Island with the city.
The decade of the 1980s was the most frustrating of the century for Greater Port Arthur. Good news was overshadowed by announcements of plant closings, layoffs, and crime. In the early and mid-1980s, more than 1 out of every 4 able-bodied workers was jobless. Tropical storms and hurricanes compounded regional woes. Thousands relocated to other cities, searching for jobs and fleeing crime. Perhaps the brightest single event of the decade was the emerging port of Port Arthur, which jumped to number 4 in the state of Texas in cargo tonnage.
And it gets better in the 1980s and 90s. Fortunately brought by a substantial economic recovery. New technology brought new job opportunities to the petrochemical plants modernization. Lamar University Port Arthur played a major role in restoring a large section of old downtown and in the training of the workforce needed by a recovering industrial base. Pleasure Island began to blossom, and a new Main Street program along Proctor Street promised to restore much of the pride Port Arthur had seemingly lost. A series of community celebrations, including Mardi Gras and other annual festivals, created and renewed optimism and gave citizens a reason to celebrate and cooperate. As Port Arthur celebrated its centennial anniversary, the area economy was again booming. Commercial and industrial expansions account for an estimated $2.5 billion, creating more than 5,000 construction jobs with hundreds of new permanent positions by the turn of the new century.
In the 2000s, a series of hurricanes strike the area. Hurricane Rita in 2005, Hurricane Ike. Hurricane recovery is a major economic and social challenge. Commercial development continues along U.S. Highway 69.
Motiva Refinery expands its production capacity, making it the largest oil refinery in North America. Citizens elect the citizen's first black mayor, Bobby Prince.
Voters approved bonds for the Port Arthur schools to build or remodel several campuses. And the board names its first black superintendent, Dr. Lewis Reed.
LNG developments in the 2010 series attracts billions of dollars in investment with companies like Cheniere, Sempra, Golden Pass, ExxonMobil, and Port Arthur LNG. Tropical Storm Harvey dropped 55 inches of rain in 5 days, setting a new North American record. Commercial development along U.S. Highway 69 continues to grow, with hotel rooms in Port Arthur now totaling nearly 2,500. COVID-19 pandemic changes our daily lives and claims a number of local residents. Motiva announces the administrative offices will be relocated to downtown Port Arthur, affecting 500 plus workers. And that's it from here. You've had 12,000 years of history in 10 minutes. Thank you for your attention.
Hi, I'm Verna Rutherford, Chairman of the City of Port Arthur's Quasquicentennial Celebration Team. We're here today planting a tree on the charter date of the city.
Hi, Tammy Kutzer, the Convention and Visitor Bureau Director and part of the steering committee team.
Pat Avery, President of the Greater Port Arthur Chamber of Commerce and also on the Quasquicentennial team. It's a great day to plant this tree on May 28th, and Port Arthur was chartered on 1898.
Hi, I'm Al Thigpen, Assistant City Manager, City of Port Arthur, and a member of the steering committee. We are here today planting a ball cypress tree, and as a legacy of the founding of Port Arthur, as you heard the ladies mention, we are so very proud to be able to do this today. And what we also want people to know is to come out and be a part if you have the time, and also to remember to participate in the activities we have going on throughout the year. This is our Quasquicentennial. We're celebrating our year, and we want everyone to be a part.
We'd love for you to come by and look at this cypress tree that's on the circular drive at the City Hall in downtown Port Arthur.
Happy birthday,
Port Arthur!
Great Thurman Bill Barty, Mayor of the great city of Port Arthur, Texas. And we're here today celebrating the Quasquicentennial tree planting in honor, in commemoration for the birthday, the 125th birthday of the greatest city on the southeast Texas coast, which is Port Arthur, Texas. And our committee, as you can see behind me here, they've done a real great job in planning this. They had a city workers here, and these gentlemen, and they are doing a great job to be sure that the tree is planted correctly and cared for. And we appreciate the fact that God has blessed us to be here, a municipality, for 125 years and counting.
I'm always waiting. I could have brought her gift. Oh, yeah.
Ron Burton, City Manager, City of Port Arthur. It's a very momentous occasion in the history of the city, the 125th birthday of the city. Today marks the 125th birthday. And it's a good, on that day, a seed was planted and it bloomed into a city. Today we are planting a tree. We hope that it will continue to bloom and bear fruit and blossom for the next 125 years. We will not be here, but our ancestors who will be here to celebrate another 125 years.
Happy birthday, Port Arthur! Happy birthday, Port Arthur!